Lucie's family has decided to offer a reward of 1.5 million yen for the new information.
She went out with a wealthy and polite businessman and had promised to buy her a brand new phone afterward. It sounded like the perfect date, but it was the last time anyone ever heard Lucie Blackman's voice. 7 months later, investigators dug under a discarded bathtub in a seaside cave and found her body, cut into 10 pieces with a chainsaw, her head shaved and encased in concrete, a few hundred meters from the man's luxury apartment. His name was Joji Obara, a millionaire, a law graduate. And hidden inside his apartment was evidence suggesting Lucie was only one of many. The cave sat in Miura, Kanagawa Prefecture, a few hundred meters from a luxury condominium overlooking the ocean. In summer, families swim in the bay nearby. Children play in the sand. This was 2001. Japan's lost decade was settling in, but Obara's world was untouched by recession. He owned apartment buildings across Tokyo and Osaka. His assets were estimated at $38 million. He held degrees in politics and law from Keio University. He traveled the world. He spoke multiple languages. He was respected. The condominium was one of several properties he used. Police would later discover that women had been brought here, drugged, raped, filmed. Some of them never left. Lucie Blackman was born on September 1st, 1978, in Sevenoaks, Kent. She was the eldest of 3 children, 2 parents, a sister named Sophie, and a brother. A normal British family on a normal British street. She became a flight attendant for British Airways. Travel, freedom, the world unrolling beneath her at 30,000 feet. But she had debts. Nothing catastrophic. Just enough to feel like walls. Japan kept coming up in conversations. The money, the neon chaos of Tokyo. The promise that a young woman with confidence and a British accent could earn in a month what took 3 months at home. On May 4th, 2000, Lucie and her friend Louise Phillips landed at Narita Airport on a 90-day tourist visa. Neither of them spoke Japanese. They found work at the Casablanca bar in Roppongi, the heart of Tokyo's water trade. They were hostesses. They poured drinks, lit cigarettes, flirted. They made businessmen feel important, so they bought expensive champagne. It was not sex work. There were strict rules, but the line between entertainment and danger was thin, especially for foreign women on tourist visas, working illegally with no safety net. They could not go to the police without risking deportation. Lucie was mildly successful at it. She didn't love the work, but she was earning. The debts were shrinking. Then a customer asked her out on a dohan, a paid date. On July 1st, 2000, Lucie told Louise she was going for a drive to the ocean. The man was charming, wealthy. He had promised her dinner by the water and a brand new mobile phone afterward. She called Louise from the car. Her voice was relaxed. The ocean was beautiful. She called again a few hours later. Still fine. Then the call stopped. Louise knew immediately. Something was very, very wrong. The next day, July 2nd, Louise's phone rang. A man. Broken English. He said Lucie had joined a religious cult and would not be seeing her friends again. Then he hung up. The call was traced to a payphone in Chiba Prefecture. A decoy. Someone wanted investigators chasing nothing, while the real trail went cold. Louise went to the police. She filed a missing persons report. The police showed very little interest. The assumption? Lucie was a foreign hostess working illegally. Young women in that world disappeared all the time. Drugs, drink, the ups and downs of love affairs. That is a direct quote from the investigation records. Why would a British Airways flight attendant give up her career to pour drinks in Roppongi? They judged her first, investigated second. Lucie's father, Tim Blackman, flew to Tokyo with her sister Sophie. They held press conferences every day. They printed 30,000 missing posters and plastered them across the city. An anonymous businessman donated £100,000 for information. Then, July 21st, 2000, G8 Summit in Japan. British Prime Minister Tony Blair met Tim Blackman and promised to raise Lucie's disappearance directly with the Japanese Prime Minister. Suddenly, the police were under a diplomatic spotlight. They could no longer afford to be slow. But let me tell you the name they should have been watching all along. Joji Obara. He was born Kim Seung-jong in 1952. A Zainichi Korean in Osaka. His father built a fortune from nothing: scrap metal, pachinko parlors, real estate. When his father died, Obara inherited everything. He became a naturalized Japanese citizen and changed his name. And somewhere along the way, he developed a fetish for white women. Not attraction, not desire. Fetish. His method was always the same. He would meet women at hostess bars, invite them to his apartment or seaside condo, offer them a drink laced with chloroform. They would lose consciousness. He would rape them. He would film it. When they woke up, sore, confused, with no memory, many went to the police, and the police did nothing. Several foreign women walked into the Roppongi station after waking up in Obara's bed. Same man, same scenario, same gaps in their memory. They were ignored. One was told to go home and think about whether she had really been raped. Obara continued, uninterrupted. For years, he had already killed. In 1992, 8 years before Lucie vanished, a 21-year-old Australian model named Carita Ridgway was working as a hostess in Ginza. She met Obara. He offered her a drink. She collapsed. Obara took her to a hospital under a false name, told the doctor she had food poisoning. Then he walked away. Carita died of chloroform-induced liver failure, brain dead for 6 days, before her family switched off life support. She was 21. The Australian embassy did not push. The police did not investigate. Then the calls stopped. Louise knew immediately. Something was very, very wrong. The next day, July 2nd, Louise's phone rang. A man. Broken English. He said Lucie had joined a religious cult and would not be seeing her friends again. Then he hung up. The call was traced to a payphone in Chiba Prefecture. A decoy. Someone wanted investigators chasing nothing, while the real trail went cold. Louise went to the police. She filed a missing persons report. The police showed very little interest. The assumption? Lucie was a foreign hostess working illegally. Young women in that world disappeared all the time. Drugs, drink, the ups and downs of love affairs. That is a direct quote from the investigation records. Why would a British Airways flight attendant give up her career to pour drinks in Roppongi? On February 9th, 2001, 7 months after Lucie vanished, police searched the seaside cave in Mura. They dug under the discarded bathtub. Lucie's body had been cut into 10 pieces. Her head was shaved and encased in concrete, each piece sealed in a separate bag. The body was too decomposed to determine the cause of death. Obara was arrested in April 2001. His trial began in October 2002. The charges: abduction, rape, and murder of Lucie Blackman, manslaughter of Carita Ridgway, rape of 8 other women, The evidence was overwhelming. 400 videotapes of unconscious women, dozens of victim testimonies, the hardware store receipt, his own diary entries. But the Japanese justice system is built on confessions. Prosecutors win over 99% of cases, but only because defendants confess. Obara never did. He claimed the women took the drugs voluntarily. The videos were consensual. The diary was fantasy. On April 24th, 2007, the verdict. Convicted of multiple rapes. Convicted of Carita Ridgway's manslaughter. Sentenced to life in prison. But for Lucie Blackman's murder, acquitted. The court ruled there was insufficient forensic evidence. The body was too decomposed to prove how she died. Tim Blackman stood outside the courthouse and told reporters his daughter had been robbed of justice. The prosecution appealed. On December 16, 2008, the Tokyo High Court overturned part of the ruling. Obara was found guilty of the abduction, dismemberment, and disposal of Lucie's body. The life sentence stood. In 2010, Japan's Supreme Court rejected his final appeal. He will die in prison. Here is what stays with me. Joji Obara raped between 150 and 400 women. The police had multiple chances to stop him. In 1992, when Carita died and her death was filed as hepatitis. In the years after, when survivors walked into police stations and were told to question their own memories, dismissed because they were hostesses, foreigners, people the system had decided did not deserve protection. Lucie Blackman's case changed something. Her father's campaign, 30,000 posters, the G8 diplomatic intervention, forced Japan to confront a predator it had allowed to operate for a decade. But too late for Lucie. Too late for Carita. Too late for the hundreds of women on those videotapes whose names we will never know. The cave where Lucie was found overlooks the ocean. In summer, families swim nearby. Most of them have no idea what was buried there.